I am 79 years old, and there's something I've been circling for a long time but never said out loud until now. For most of my life, I thought responsibility was the same thing as happiness. I confused the two, and by the time I understood the difference, most of my life was already behind me. I'm not saying this because I want pity. I don't need reassurance. I'm saying it because when you reach this age, the noise falls away. There's less pretending, less future to bargain with. You start seeing your life not as a story that's still unfolding, but as something that has mostly been written. These days, I wake up earlier than I want to. My body does that now. I sit on the edge of the bed for a minute before standing, just to make sure everything works the way it should. Some mornings it does. Some mornings it doesn't. That's part of the accounting you do at this age. The house is quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet people talk about. Just empty. The kind that lets your thoughts echo back at you. I've had a responsible life. That's the phrase I would have used for decades. A good life. A solid life. I paid my bills. I kept my word. I showed up. I did what was expected of me. And then some. What I didn't do very well was ask myself how I actually felt about any of it. When you're young, responsibility feels noble. It feels like maturity. You're praised for it. People trust you. They rely on you. That approval becomes its own kind of reward. In my 20s, I took the first stable job I was offered. It wasn't exciting, but it had benefits. My father told me I was smart for taking it. My mother slept better knowing I had health insurance. That mattered to me more than whether I liked the work. I told myself liking your job was a luxury, something you earned later. I worked hard. I stayed late. I didn't complain. When promotions came up, my name was usually in the conversation. I wore that like a badge. It meant I was doing things right. I got married young, not because of passion, if I'm honest, but because it made sense. She was kind, reliable. We wanted the same general things: a house, children, stability. Love, I thought, would grow out of that. And in some ways, it did. But it was quiet love, practical love, the kind that looks good on paper. We bought a house we could afford, not one we loved. We furnished it sensibly, neutral colors, nothing extravagant, everything chosen to last. Our days settled into routines quickly. Wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, talk about logistics. Weekends were for errands and fixing things. Sundays were for family obligations. It wasn't bad. That's the thing that makes it so hard to talk about now. It wasn't bad enough to leave. It wasn't painful enough to justify change. So I stayed. In my 30s, people started calling me dependable. That word followed me everywhere. At work, in my family, among friends. If something needed to be handled, I handled it. If someone needed help, I helped. I rarely said no. And when I did, I felt guilty. I told myself this was adulthood, that everyone felt tired, that everyone put their own wants on hold, that happiness was something you squeezed into the corners of your life when everything else was taken care of. The problem was, Everything else was never taken care of. There was always another deadline, another expense, another responsibility waiting its turn. I missed small things, not in dramatic ways. I was there for birthdays, but distracted. I attended school events, but thinking about work. I listened, but only halfway. My kids grew up with a father who was present, but not fully there. I didn't see it then. I see it now. I remember my daughter once asking me to stay and help her with a project. I told her I would after I finished something for work. By the time I was done, she was asleep. I remember standing in her doorway, feeling annoyed at myself, but also telling myself it was just one night. There were a lot of just one nights. My wife and I talked less as the years went on. Not because we were angry. We just ran out of energy for anything beyond the essentials. Conversations became about schedules and bills and plans. We assumed the closeness would return later. Later is a word that gets a lot of mileage in a responsible life. In my 40s, I was doing well by most measures. Good position, decent income, respect from my peers. People younger than me asked for advice. I gave them the same advice I'd been given. Be reliable. Work hard. Don't rock the boat. Take care of your obligations first. I didn't realize I was passing along the same misunderstanding. The cost of that way of living didn't show up all at once. It crept in quietly. It was the way laughter became rarer, the way I felt restless on Sunday nights, the way I sometimes sat in my car for a few extra minutes before going inside, just to delay the next set of responsibilities. I told myself this was normal, that this was what it meant to be a grown man. I didn't feel unhappy. Exactly. I felt muted, like someone had turned the volume down on my own life. Every once in a while, I'd have a moment, a flash of something different. On a vacation, maybe, or during a rare afternoon off, I'd feel lighter, more like myself. Then Monday would come, and I'd put that feeling away like something impractical. I didn't chase dreams. I didn't even call them dreams. I called them distractions. I thought wanting more was immature. The turning point didn't come with fireworks. It came with a phone call. My wife got sick in our late 50s. At first, it was manageable. Appointments, medications, adjustments. I handled it the way I handled everything else. I took responsibility. I made sure things were organized. I kept track of schedules. I stayed calm. What I didn't do enough of was just sit with her. As her illness progressed, our world shrank. Work faded into the background. For the first time in my life, responsibility didn't feel like enough. There were nights when she would look at me and ask simple questions, not about treatment, about us, about whether we'd been happy. I didn't know how to answer. After she died, the house became unbearably quiet. The routines that had once kept me moving now had nowhere to go. I retired not long after. People congratulated me, told me I'd earned my rest. Rest felt strange when I finally had time for it. Without obligations filling every hour, things I'd ignored for decades came rushing in. Thoughts, feelings, questions I'd never given space to. I realized how much of my life had been about being needed, not about being alive. There are things that can't be fixed now. That's the hardest part to accept. I can't go back and have different conversations. I can't show up more fully for moments that are long gone. I can't ask my wife what she needed from me when there was still time to give it. Time doesn't refund itself. I have relationships that are polite now, but not deep. Children who love me, but don't quite know me. That distance wasn't created by one mistake. It was created by decades of choosing duty over presence. I don't hate my life. I want to be clear about that. There is gratitude here too. I provided. I was steady. I didn't abandon my responsibilities. But I wish I'd known that responsibility alone doesn't make a life feel full. If you're listening to this, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't believe in telling people how to live. I can only tell you what I wish I'd understood sooner. I wish I'd known that happiness isn't something you earn after you finish being responsible. It's something you have to allow alongside it. I wish I'd known that saying yes to everything doesn't make you good. Sometimes it just makes you absent. I wish I'd known that being admired for your reliability doesn't mean you're known. There's a difference between being respected and being connected. I didn't understand that until connection was harder to come by. Now, my days are quieter, slower. I notice things I rushed past before. The way light moves across the floor, the sound of birds in the morning, the feeling of making a simple meal and eating it without checking the clock. These things feel richer now, but they also remind me of how much I missed. I don't have many years left. I don't know exactly how many. None of us do. But the margin feels thinner now. I spend more time remembering than planning, more time feeling than doing. If this meant something to you, I'm glad. If it didn't, that's all right too. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I just wanted to say this out loud once, honestly, without pretending it all added up neatly. I confused responsibility with happiness for 40 years. They aren't the same thing. They can exist together, but one doesn't automatically bring the other. I'm 79 now. I live with that understanding. It's quieter than regret, heavier than wisdom, and it's mine to carry for whatever time I have left.